Excellent. This next question comes from our friend John Vasquez, and he asks, do you think worker cooperatives fit into your economic agenda? Why or why not? If so, how do you plan on integrating worker co-ops into your economic plans, and how will you support them? For example, what Jeremy Corbyn is doing in the UK, right of first refusal and government loans. Do you kind of see as worker co-ops as an alternative to capitalism, or do you see it as a kind of like a socialist idea?
Well, I am a union leader in which I do represent workers in co-ops.
Yes.
And I think it's a good idea. It's a positive idea, but it's still within capitalism. I don't think that. I mean, there's many ideas that people have of reform.
Yes.
We've seen reforms work, but reforms get taken away. When the capitalists can get the power back through technology, where they can wipe out a factory, move abroad, or just cut down because of automation, which we're seeing day to day to day to day. I really think the real question is socialism.
Yes.
I really think the question is on a much larger scale. Then you can have co-ops.
Yes.
I think that not everything can work as a co-op. I mean, are you talking about big industry? But I really think it can only happen under a different system. Where are we at in the United States and in the world? We are experiencing not just a president or a party in power, but a system where, I call it imperialism. It's where we're at now. That the U.S. imperialist system is waging war, either economic war, on multiple fronts, or preparing for war against Iran.
Oh yeah.
Against North Korea, against Cuba, 60 years of blockade, against Venezuela. And it's not just the Trump administration. The Democrats are very much in line. And it's not even just this politician, it's the system itself. And you don't get elected unless you don't even go to the top of becoming a presidential candidate, a serious one, unless you have already indicated your willingness to do whatever the imperialists want, whatever the bankers and the corporations want. So I really, really think that we have the power for this. For example, how do you solve the housing question? You know, housing is probably the biggest crisis people are facing right now, besides healthcare and unemployment. Housing. Should groups in cities be saying, I mean, I think it's okay to say, well, let's demand that the city build some housing. But there's already plenty of housing. There's probably 20 million empty housing units, new homes, condominiums, empty homes that are available for people, and maybe 5 million homeless or underhoused, people jammed up in homes.
Exactly.
Wow. Why doesn't everybody have a house? Because the bankers control the housing industry, because real estate. And it's not improving. So I don't think reforms are going to solve the problem. I do not knock people fighting for reforms, because for one thing, it shows the utter limitation of it. In the old days, 60s, 50s, 40s, maybe you could fight for reforms that were meaningful. But right now, you gain something and you lose much more. The women's fight. How many states are now passing laws against women, criminalizing women for wanting an abortion, needing one, or not being able to raise your child, not having child care, and you're put in jail if you leave your child for an hour or so to try to go put a job application in.
Yeah.
So I really think that co-ops can be a good idea, but the system has to change. And I think the big problem or the challenge for the movement, I'm talking progressive people, activists who've been around a long time or are new, is that you think it's not possible in the U.S. I thought, not this country.
Yeah.
Nice in Cuba, nice somewhere else, but it's too powerful. The military, the police, the prisons, the courts. And yet, I think it's precisely here where it will happen.
Yeah.
Because people pretty soon are not going to be able to take it anymore. You see all these examples. You see Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, yes.
This utter abuse. I don't think we should ignore it. It's not an anomaly. He's not the only one who does this. But the whole court system protected him.
Yeah.
The girls raped, abused, ruined for their lives maybe. And children in jail in these detention centers, the immigrant children. And then you have a president who was elected not because of Russia. Russia didn't do it, although the Democrats like to push that big story, right?
Yes.
Because they think that'll get them elected. Mm-hmm. But 24 Democrats are fighting each other. They can't get their thing together, right?
Yes.
So Trump right now is blaming immigrants. He blames other poor people. He blames everyone but the ones who caused the crisis. And so what it takes is for the political movement to start to reach out to the poor, to the working class, even to people who voted for Trump, because they're looking for answers, and the Democratic Party won't provide it.
Yes.
They're part of the problem.
Yes.
So I think our challenge is how do we reach out and organize and have confidence in ourselves and understand that no election will change anything, only the struggle
Yes.
and changing the system.